Hello everybody, welcome to a complete guide of Hylics 2. So, it might be weird because I'm not doing a guide of Hylics 1, although I might do one if this does well. But I like Hylics 2 a lot more, so I'm just starting here. As you can see, I already have like 3 runs done. But for the purpose of this, I'm just going to start a new run. Okay, and with that weird beginning out of the way, we can start. So over here, obviously, controls these to... There are some controls they don't show you at the beginning, so Z allows you to actually run. You can change into another outfit of like the Hylics 2 Wayne in the mirror. But I prefer the first one more, actually, because the run cycle's all goofy. So yeah, Q is menu, jump and spacebar, X is to slap, which gives you a 20 will bonus at the start of any battle, and you can also use it to slap gray tiny bugs to restore flesh and will. There's also C, which for right now is just a dodge, you roll on the ground, but it will become something later. And then obviously arrows to move, and enter also works as accept. So first are bones. Now, bones are the currency of this. In the first game, there was just bucks. Also, first you're gonna have to go up here. Cleaning fully restores all of your will and flesh. Plus, it gives you the clean status, which is a unique mechanic that I'll explain once I get into a battle. That's it for up there. Then another important thing down here, you get pour more bleb. Now, it's not really the best move, but it's like the starting healing move you get, so for the beginning, it suffices. And here's the people slapping, all the Wayne's training, but I'm not going to exit yet. Right now, I'm going to go downstairs for a few important items. Such as these, you get the cookie, empty, which is sometimes pops up in a few specific locations. It doesn't mean anything, it just gives you nothing. So this cookie and juice, those are just healing items. Here's my favorite Wayne, he's just chilling. And these are basically like the teleporters, but I won't go there yet. Then, if you go back, actually wait, yes, it's over here. If you go back here, find a trail of bones. Also, there are plenty of bones in this, so never really worry too much about currency or like collecting all the overworld bones, because those don't matter too much. So you get your mission from Old Wayne. I'm gonna skip through most of the dialogue because I've already read it a bunch. But what you can do, this is very vital for the beginning, and I wish I knew it the first time I played, is if you hop on Old Wayne and you hop on this umbrella, you go over here. Oh yeah, also, if you hold spacebar when you're jumping, you float. That'll be a lot more useful for platforming. So if you go over here, you find the long gloves. And these are so important. Because your first battle, even though it is easy, I think it's just one of the cave people and a Tyro. I managed to do that fight with no long gloves on my first time, but they really help. So I would highly recommend just going up here and equipping those. So that's all you need up here. You go back down, and now you can begin your quest. Now, the interesting thing about Hylics 2 is the map is not too expansive, and only half of it is like necessary to complete the game. So this guy up here, he's kind of useless. He tells you that you need a new metaphor to go across to the north. So here is New Moldol, and it's like the primary city. You'll revisit it a few times because it has all the shops and it's plot relevant. So the first thing you're gonna want to do when you get here is, first of all, where is it? Oh, it's over here. No, it is not. There's a fountain. I'll find it eventually. But the next thing, after you found the fountain, is you want to go up here. Look at some free items if you go to the top of this shop. You can find a stem cell and a cupcake. And here's one of the most, not one of the most important shops, but it's like the first one you go to, so I consider it important. He sells burritos, juices, 1 muscle applique, and 1 organ fort. There's only 2 organ forts in the whole game, and somewhere around like 20 muscle appliques. And if you read the description on the left, they are pretty important. And the organ forts are it's one of the best garbs you can wear. And yeah, you can find a few bones in there, but we'll come back to that later. For right now, I just want to find the fountain, because I know it's there. It is, yeah. So you press the button to unlock it. So right now, I'm going to explain the afterlife. So here's the afterlife. You're going to see this location a lot. If you die, or if you just want to grind meat, whatever it is, you're going to see it a lot. So first thing you want to go, first place you want to go to the left here, you find a burrito. And this is kind of creepy. This is a little like, it's like a dead Wayne, but he's only dying, so you can like pick it up and boom, meat. There's only 2 instances in that, and they're both kind of weird. So here's this guy. I don't know who he is, but he just explains the Wayne larvas. I guess the Wayne are just like a species. There's a few odd things that I've theorized about in this game, like the pool men. Here's another one of those. I think they're just like angels or servants of the afterlife. So now I'm going to explain what the clean status means. I don't think it explicitly shows it here because there's no dozier like there is in the first game. But basically it lasts for like the first 2 or 3 turns. I think it's 3 turns of the first battle you go into. And it prevents any status effects from hurting you. So it's really good if you want to like be extra prepared for a boss fight. Here's the meat grinder. Increases your flesh points. This guy's just kind of here. Now we're going to go out. Here's where the teleporting area is. So you talk to this guy, and here's all the fountains you've unlocked. So I'm going to go back to New Moldal. Okay, so now that we're back, let's go to the mines. Or actually, to make this a bit easier, first of all, you go into settings. First of all, I want to make the battle difficulty hard. Just to make sure. Just to, like, assure that I know what I'm doing. So, if you want to make it easier, you can do the first fight I was talking about earlier with the Tyro and the cave guy with just Wayne. Although, all 3 of the other characters are necessary to complete this game. I saw this one run of the original Hylics where it was just an only Wayne run, and I thought it was pretty impressive. But in this game, all of them have an important item, so you have to get all 3 crew members. So first there's Pangorma. He gives you a pneumatophore. A lot of the language in this is pretty hard to pronounce, so excuse me if I stutter or something. So you can notice that the throne room, why can I not get up here? There. The throne room is empty, so you need to go save Blorel. He's basically the king of New Moldol. And over here, this will become pretty important later, is the treasury room. Now, we'll find a way to get past that guard, but I'll explain it when it happens. So, we get Pangorma, who is like the second most valuable teammate behind Samsnosa. Or actually behind Dedus Moon, his foam armor, which I think is more important. But Pangorma is pretty valuable. So anyway, he gives you that, so now, instead of just rolling when you do C, if you jump and press C, you dash across the air. It's not unlimited. I mean, you can perform the action as many times as you want, as unlimited use, but you do not dash forever. It runs out after like 3 seconds. Here's a little Easter egg. It'll be pretty important later, and the key's in a pretty vague place, so we'll come back to that. And here's the banana. One of my favorite items in the game. Not because it's good, but because the animation is perfect. So we'll visit a few more shops. This one really isn't a shop, it's a house, but it has boots, I think. Yeah, it has boots. And those are pretty important. They give you a little bit more speed. And I'm going to equip all this now. I'm going to give Pangorma the boots. And there's a little bone here. And this little trail of bones in that room over there will be explained later. I need the upper house key, as it was stated before. So here's this guy, who is the same species as Dedus Moon. He's not really important. He's just kind of a nod to the first game. There's some bones up here. This guy explains that you can slap bugs for more flesh and will. Well, not a increased capacity, just filling your capacity. So down here, it's a pretty important place. You get a pretty standard ability. So these guys that speak really weird, they talk about the pool men. And here's the first battle. So I did this with only Wayne the first time. And see how Wayne is shining? That is the clean status. So yeah, the Cave Siniste and the Tyro. You're going to want to take out the Tyro first, because they're really annoying. They can call for backup, and that's just more trouble than it's worth. But these guys are also pretty annoying, but only at the start, because they know Glaive Arc, which does a hefty amount of damage to all of your teammates. And he does it all the time. But there are much more annoying enemies. And I will go pretty in depth of how to deal with each enemy. But for the beginning, there's not much strategy, it's just snap them. And that's another part I really like about Hylics and Hylics 2, is it's very unique. Like, in no other game do you snap to attack someone. Here's a burrito. There's a little pool down here, and it has some bones, but that's not really important. It's not that many. But there's this guy. This guy's very important. If you picked up the juice at the beginning, you can give it to him, and he gives you his key to his house. And it gives you Soul Crisper, which is like not the best move, but it's like used all the time. At least I use it all the time, because it's cheap and it's effective. Then we press the button over there, link to this wire. There's a lot of wire following for the puzzles. So it leads back here. I could have seen this area earlier. This leads back up to the cafe, which once we rescue Blarrel will be an actual shop again. You can buy multi-coffees, coffee chips, that stuff. But here's the exit. It's just out here. So now, oh yeah, there's this guy who's also in the afterlife. He talks about Vuax, who is the first main villain. And here's the entrance to the cafe. So, I'm going to go to the house and learn Soul Crisper. It's It's right here. So what Soul Crisper does is it only costs 30 will, and of course anyone can use it. And it sets the enemy on fire while also dealing a little more damage than a normal attack. Most of the time. There are some exceptions. But normally, under all normal circumstances, it does the same amount, but a little bit more. Also, unlike Hylics 1, once you learn a gesture from a TV, everyone knows it. It's not like you have to go and relearn it for everyone to know every gesture. And I guess I should explain each crewmate's unique gesture. Wayne knows Dissolution, which weakens the enemy as well as steadily reduces their flesh. And I think it reduces their power by exactly 20%, so it can be pretty helpful. And I'll explain what the charge versions of these are when I actually learn Charge Up. Also, here's Vuax's Edifice. I'm going to go to it now. So, Pangorma's unique gesture is Lightning, which is pretty powerful, but it also stuns him. And it does, I think, 175% of a normal attack. Then Samsnosa's special ability, Wave Artifice. It just attacks all enemies. Dedusmoon's unique gesture, which is really good, is Foam Armor, which protects and heals. So first, I'm gonna go down here, dash across. There's something very important up here, besides the fountain, or the banana over there. And it's what's across here. If you dash from here, it's pretty vague, but this is for the Sage tokens. So if you came here for the Sage tokens, or you're confused about that, I know everything about it. So you'll come down here. Now this is probably the vaguest one. You just gotta kind of follow these little white things. But you'll stumble across a hole. I believe it's this one. So the way I remember it is just what white things are by it. If it isn't, oh well, I'll try it again. But you go down here. Yes, this was the right one. You go down here. Get some bones. And up here you find the Sage. Why can I not talk to him? I can't talk to him. Oh, there we go. He's the Sage of Monitors. And he gives you the Sage token and the Converter Worm. Don't use the Converter Worm. I don't care what anyone says, don't use it. And you also get a Multi-Juice, which is pretty good. So that's where the first Sage token is. And then you just sink back below, back to here. So now, we're going to go find Dedusmoon. Also, there's a few enemies on the staircase here. But first, here's the canoe, and here's Dedusmoon. And here's the other meat. It's weird. It's one of the, like, employees from the old excavation site, and it's just cooking. And here is Dedusmoon. So he gives you the paddle, which is why he's necessary, because you need to save Blairal, and to get there you need to use this. But also inside is this little suitcase with a cupcake in it. And now let's go find some enemies. Yeah, there they are. He was cooking up one of those, the Tyros. Alright, so now we have 2 new enemies. As always, oh, I really should have healed first. Ooh. This may be a loss. Let's see, Pour More Bleb. The thing about Pour More Bleb is it restores 1/3 of HP and gives the target defending. Oh cool, the Tyro just left. But there's already an item that does more than that. It's the cupcake. Restores 50%, which is more than a third of flesh, and it also still does defending. So, and you're never really gonna run out of them. There's a lot, so I'd just always use cupcakes instead of Porum or Bleb. It's just a waste of will. But again, it's really good for the first fight and the first fight only. So, oh yeah, there's lightning. So I'm gonna explain these two enemies. There's the Hydrostat, who has this, not really a counterattack. Only 3 other enemies have a counterattack. But he has Angry, which is whenever he gets attacked, he gets angry, which increases his power. I don't know by how much, it never says. But yeah, he gets angry, increased power. So usually attack him last. I just want to explain him first. I don't know really why I attacked him first. But yeah, he's pretty easy. Then there's the Road Flame. Later, there are a few repeat enemies that look the same, but have a slightly different name. So the Road Flame mainly just does 4 slices, which is pretty powerful. Does 28 damage in all. But later on, you'll see an enemy called the Highway Flame. He's just the same thing, but stronger. So whenever you see a repeat like that, they probably don't have any new abilities. They're just the same thing, but more powerful. Okay, so now I'm gonna heal some bugs. There's a few bones over here. It's not really important. None of the bones are. They're all pretty much full. So there's a few trampolines throughout the game. Even if there are stairs nearby, like the trampoline isn't your only option. Like in this case, the trampolines are faster, so just stand on them and bounce. Don't try to time your jumps, because you don't need to do any of that. So now let's, oh right, the paddle's down there, or the canoe for the paddle. So let me go back down, and we'll go into Vuax's edifice. So now we're inside. Here's a pretty important room. You'll find 4 cages. One of them just has a bug. This one has Blairal. That's Blairal. That's the cafe owner. And here, well, there's something very interesting over there. And here's the button you need to get it, but we don't have the key. And here's just an enemy. So now there's 2 new enemies again. That guy's charging up, which is something that enemies either do to enhance their next attack, or to do a special kind of ability. One that's even more special than a gesture. So he's the Mycetic. There's a Jaded Mycetic as well, and he actually does have a few new abilities. I think he knows Graft, but I'm getting ahead of myself. This is the Mycetic, and he's super annoying, so you should take him out first. However, there's the Silamvog, and he's even more annoying because he heals. He doesn't have too good of an attack, or really anything about him other than this one move that's using a stem cell. He's not powerful. He has no other good healing attacks, but he always does that, so I like to take him out first. And yeah, see, he knows Shield Circle, and that gives everyone defending status. Also, speaking of stem cells, the multi-stem cells that apply to your entire group are some of the best healing items, because they don't just last for 1 turn, and this is bad. So, let's see. I don't have any multi-attack, so I'm just gonna simply snap them. And actually, I'll use Foam Armor and Dedus Moon. So this move is really good. One might even call it the meta, because it heals whoever it's used on, as well as increasing their flush capacity, only for the fight. And then again, the foam only lasts like 5 turns, but usually you never get to see the foam end unless it's like a boss battle. So I'm gonna use Dissolution. I may lose this fight. Actually, I'll probably lose this fight. But I'm gonna try to salvage it. Alright. I forgot this isn't the first game where you use burritos to revive. You need a soul sponge. So I guess I'll just use a banana. And the great animation. I actually made my own stop motion version of that. And made it a GIF. Although it's a lot more sped up because stop motion is hard. So you can't really use any more will. So I guess... Oh wait, 19 and 19. I think that's exactly enough. Yes, okay. It's also helpful to know exactly how much power your teammates have, so you don't waste will unnecessarily. Like, I would have used Soul Crisper there, but I didn't have to. Also, don't worry too much if your teammates perish, because at the end of every battle, they are revived with 1 flesh left. And however will they had left beforehand. So, I'm gonna go heal up some more with some bugs. I think there's some right outside. Now, there's a lot of enemies here, so I might just cut some of them out. But, the battles are pretty simple. Also, I would recommend fighting every enemy you can, because that gives you more meat, so... You know, if you're trying to get every advantage you can, then... more likely of not dying. Also, there are some enemies, I think just one, specifically this one, that chases you actively, but the rest of the enemies just go on their own path. That's probably good enough. And I still didn't get a slap bonus. So the Silimvog always uses the stem cell on whoever has the lowest HP at the time. So if you can kill an enemy before your 3 turns are over, or before the Silimvog can use the stem cell, then he won't be able to do anything. See, he does that, and then it's super annoying. So this is pretty much just the same battle as last time. I guess I'll use foam armor. Also, another thing to note, Deadest Moon has the least will out of anyone, and Wayne always has, like, the most base flesh and will points, and speed. He has the most base stats, and Deadest Moon has the least. Although he does have a little bit more flesh than Pangorma. And there is no leveling up in this. There's just getting new gear, or grinding meat, or drinking from a paper cup. There's no XP. And Pangorma's dead. It's not good. Also, he's charging up. I forgot what that does, so you know what? I'm gonna let him do that. But I'll use a burrito until then. And this is a good animation, too. The burrito animation. Graft. That's the thing I was talking about earlier. Graft is just so overpowered. There's another thing called, like, the wall of meat or something. A bunch of hot dogs show up, and then all the enemies' HP is fully restored. It's a very annoying move, and I think only 2 enemies know it. So, watch out for that. Also, I want to talk about this move, Shatter. It doesn't do that much damage, but it does more in the long run, because it inflicts vulnerable, which is something that you can't really do, although you can, through a very specific means, which I will explain later. But for now, you cannot inflict any vulnerability, any angry, none of that. You just have, like, well, if we're talking specifically now, I would say just burning and dissolution. And there are some pretty bad status effects. I like to use this one method with the cursed gloves on Pangorma when I'm doing the Sage Labyrinth. So if you know what I'm talking about, I'm just going to tell you now, you should do that. But status effects are really good, especially for the final fight, because they're worse the more flesh the enemy has. So the more powerful the enemy, the harder they fall, or the more flesh they lose when they're burning. Oh, also, this is Odozier. If you know what I'm talking about, yeah, this is a statue of Odozier. There's a little Galliform up here, but he has 140 HP, or flesh. I keep wanting to say HP because it's just more natural, but yeah, it's flesh and will instead of HP and PP or something. But he can attack twice in one turn, so do not fight him. And I think I mentioned the old excavation site earlier. It's next to New Moldol, but don't go there. It's flooded with Galliforms. I think someone in New Moldol says that at some point. So then there's this fight. I'm probably going to cut this one out, but if I don't, I'll make some commentary. So when you're fighting Vuax, there's going to be some Tyros. And of course, the Tyros always call in more people to fight with. And there's 4 Tyros in the Vuax fight. So it's kind of hard to counter that, because you actually cannot get Samsnosa at that point. So you just gonna have to deal. Thankfully, though, he doesn't sacrifice his Tyros, which would be even worse. I think the final boss does that. Okay, so there's a few more enemies. I might just fight those on my own time, or do them now and cut them out. Either way, I don't really want you guys to see those, because they're kind of meaningless. No new enemies. Nothing. It's just pointless. So, there's this. This is pretty important. It's the key. There's 2 platforming minigames, and they're pretty vital, because there's some hitting things in them, there's some hidden muscle appliques, but they're all extra. Like, you do not need to do this one. Oh god, this guy. Alright. I hope I don't cut this out. But this is the Warpo. It is probably the most annoying enemy. Whether you attack it or not, it will eventually explode and brutally damage one member, usually killing them. So, yeah, they're pretty bad. and it's very hard to kill them before it can kill you. So you just have to hope it does someone who's already about to die, or maybe defend, like try bracing. But just try to power through it and heal a bunch. See, self-destruct, and boom, Wayne is dead. See, 187. There's no way you can survive that unless you have, well, unless it's like the end of the game. And the Tyro just departed. See, that wasn't too bad, because I dealt with the Mycetic first, and all the Tyros are cowards who can't fight for themselves. Oh yeah, and the little loading screen Wayne, that's who you play as in the platformer. So Wayne's back. Keep following the wire. It's a pretty thick wire. So here is the platformer. See, there's a little Wayne. So some may find the platformers pretty difficult. Some may find it pretty easy. Personally, I find them sort of challenging but enjoyable. So X, where it was slapping before, is now attacking. If you charge it up, you can do a big blast. It's really effective to do the big blast, and it gets more powerful the closer you are. So pretty much this game is like Mega Man. You can't attack in any other direction, but your jump is pretty good. And there's no ducking. So yeah, the controls are limited to like a Mega Man style sort of thing. These things spawn little, I don't know, gremlin creatures that chase after you. Well, they don't actually chase, they're just kind of mindless. But they're like the basic enemy. So you're going to want to go over here first. Also, you can dash with C. There's a few trampolines in this. They look like this, what I'm bouncing on right now. This is one of the most annoying enemies, and I'm dead. That thing over there, that kind of has like antennas sticking out of its head. Also, these are instant death. So don't touch them. Otherwise, you know, you'll die. But you can dash across them. Dashing makes you invincible. Or rolling, either way. And that's the sound it makes whenever you take damage. Also, there are many bones in this. It is especially important to not chase bones in this. In there's only two, either of the platformers, because it could just like heavily increase the time it takes, or it's just like it distracts you too much. So here's the most important thing in this minigame, is you go down here, you just jump around a little. Also see, double jump resets. Oops. But if you saw that, there was a key, and that is the upper house key that we need. And there is a pretty important guy who you meet in the upper house. But don't worry, this platformer isn't too long. And the second one is a lot longer. In fact, there's a little bit of a maze segment. But I won't go too in depth on that. I don't think I'll collect all the items, but it's mainly like not actual items. It's just like burritos, bananas. It's all stuff that you could find somewhere else, or like stuff you could just buy. It's not that important, but there are a few things like muscle up leaks. I think there's 2 in this one. So going back down here, I'm gonna get the upper house key. Yeah. And back down here. Boom. The beginning. Oh, another interesting detail. The very beginning thing, whenever you load a file, you see the little Wayne larva being birthed. This is the thing it comes out of. So you're playing as a little Wayne larva. It doesn't look as creepy as the other Wayne larvas, because I guess it's like a video game in this video game, so it's meant to look appealing instead of some gross blob. But there's another important item back that way, but instead of down, it's up. Oh, that was a close one. Also, you have a fair bit of HP. I think it gives you 6? Pretty sure. It's more than 5. So up here, pretty important spot. There's some bones over here. Again, it's not important. So, this part's a little bit annoying. You have to trampoline perfectly to get over there. So, excuse me for a second. Yeah, like, see, that was a good one, that was a good one. But then when it comes around, it's hard to do. There, okay. So then you hop on here, and press this button. It's very important that you stay on, otherwise it will not come back. But it's this thing. You go over to this little save checkpoint. There's a little bit of a segment over here, collecting bones. That's not what's important. It's the muscle applique. I hope I'm saying that right. And there's 2 in the first platformer. And I believe the second one is coming up soon. These guys, there's a banana, a burrito. They all have bananas and burritos, but again, they're pretty useless. Oh, I don't want to say they're useless in combat, it's just, don't waste your time getting them in the platformer. It's really not worth it. And I really should be charging up my blast more. It's a lot more helpful. But you can spam X, so, you know, they're both good. These enemies, they're a little bit tough. They shoot in bursts of 3. Now here's where it is. A little save file there. Here's where the second muscle applique is. You dash over. And there's these invincible enemies. And that's signified by their flashing. Because that same effect is put on Wayne when he dashes. So you have to dodge those. It's a little bit annoying because there's always knockback. Oh, there's actually like a sandbox mode in this, and there's a muscle applique. I need to die. There's like an easy mode where you get more health or something. Actually, let me check it out. Yeah, there's normal, knockback. There's Wayne is not knocked back, and then there's God mode. And air dash is unlimited, so, yeah, God mode is literally God mode. There's, like, literally no challenge in playing in God mode. It's just for if you get too mad at it, you wanna just get it over with. And this again. That's an enemy on the title screen. I think it's called a Truculent. And it's also an enemy you can fight in-game. But it's a little weird because it's in the platformer. But most of the enemies in the platformer are only in the platformer. Okay, and dash over here. Got the muscle applique. Those 2 are very important. I'm gonna save. Like, see that enemy? It's only there, and it's just there. So there's a lot of one-time enemies in the platformers. I think something important is up there. So, oh, of course. I forget exactly what is up there, but I know every time I've played the platformer, the first one, I've always gone there, so there must be something. I just can't remember at the moment. There's bones. Oh yeah, the button. This is the exit. Is you go up here, feed this thing, and press the button, and you zoom over. There's this little Wayne-shaped sarcophagus, almost. It's not entirely Wayne-shaped, but it kind of looks like Wayne. There's a banana on the bed, and you go through here. And by doing this, yeah, there's the sarcophagus. And by doing this, you unlock the key that you couldn't get to before. So that's that, and back to the main game. So, it's time to fight Vuex. And I think I will end the video with Vuex. Do I need any bugs? Yes, I do. Good enough. So now back down here, as I said, key unlocked. The tower key. Also, little thing to note, in your things, you always have the keys, no matter if you use them already. Like, see the house key? I already used that, but it's still in my inventory. So make sure you've already used them, and then remember that you've used them. Oh, that's the Electrolan. He uses Sleepy Spores. Don't fight him. I guess I'll fight a few, because I need to be more powerful, and there's a Poolman. So the Poolmen are it's one of the most, interesting enemies. I got caught up a little bit there, because there's another enemy called the Poolman, who works in the same way, he's just a more powerful version. And he counters, one of the few enemies who counters. So, Poolmen. They are very interesting. They're not too powerful. Well, the Poolman is, only because of its counter. But I mean, he knows Lambaste, which is pretty weak. But it's good for breaking defenses. And, oh yeah, most important thing about Poolmen. They reproduce if you don't use Soul Crisper on them. So they will, I think, infinitely, at least for a while, unless you defeat them, they will keep reproducing, making another version of themselves who is at full flesh. So you have to use Soul Crisper on them. Now, here's one of the most interesting parts. Once they die, they just melt back into the ground. Whereas, if you kill any other enemy, also he's charged up, so he's gonna call someone. The Tyro, I mean. But with every other enemy, they don't do that. See? There's an explosion, and they drop their meat. But that's the thing, the Poolmen don't have any meat. Oh, God. So, earlier in New Mobile, you go into the mines. I didn't really talk to them too much, but the workers, they were trimming these stalagmites, the ones that grow from the ground. And they have these little pink tentacles coming off of them, and I think that's where the Poolmen come from. Because they're trimming them, and this guy says, like, trimming these is a hassle, but we don't want any Poolmen roaming around. So I just find that really interesting, and it's not something that's directly stated in the game, is that they are not like made out of flesh, they just kind of grow. And there's a lot of weird things like that in this game. I mean, some of the enemies just have cool designs and they're kind of just throwaways. Another thing, pool men give you cool wine, which is pretty good. That's all I have to say on that. But most of the enemies are just throwaway enemies, but some stick. Some of them have like a lore. Like the Tyros, they're seen in multiple places. So it's almost as if there's a good form of Tyro and a bad form. So I'm gonna use the tower key. Why can I not? There. I'm gonna use the tower key up here. Again, I'm just doing this, getting 100% of items. So this is not necessary. Oh wait, no, this is almost necessary, but not entirely. The paper cup. There's only 2 in this entire game. One is in a much bigger spot. And you always want to use them when you have all of your crewmates, which means Snom, Snosa, 2. And the hole just leads back here. I'm actually going to grind up some meat in the afterlife. And also get the clean status and refresh all my stats. Another thing that will be important later is that little cage over there. It holds a gesture that is, it's called Teledenunate, and it's good for one enemy who does one move. It's very specific, and otherwise it kind of sucks. So I'm gonna go back to view axis edifice. Oh wait, another thing. I want to go back to New Moldal actually, because I have enough bones to buy something. So with so many enemies in the Vuax fight, meaning 4 Tyros and Vuax himself, how do you defeat him? Well, speed, obviously. Now, at this point in the game, the cafe isn't unlocked, so you cannot use multi-coffees, which give everyone caffeinated. It's a really good status to have. Down here, really quick, Dubious Berry. It's useless. Heals a bit, but poisons the user, so not good. Just wanted to grab it. So, material mitts, don't get them, they're bad. Long gloves, find them, don't buy them. Tendril hands, powerful but slow. Pleather gauges. Pleather gauges are good. They give you speed, flesh, and power. They're good for a majority of the game, so at the start, as soon as you get 170 bones, you should probably equip it. And I guess I'll give it to Pangorma. Oh yeah. So I never explained it before, but the converter worm, it gives you more will, and it even restores it automatically, but it drains their flesh by 5% every turn, so it's not good. Never use it. Yeah, this one even decreases speed. Yikes. So I'll just buy one more long glove, just so that Deadwish Moon can actually have a glove and have a fighting chance. But yeah, Deadwish Moon, mostly a mage. Mostly use him for his will, which is kind of weird because he has the least will out of anyone. So I'm going to go back. Oh wait, it's quicker to use the fountain. I forgot. Oh wait, yeah, I want to go. I don't think did I clean up? Nope. I'm going to go do that where there. Oh god. Jeez, my fan is just... Hold on. Okay. My fan was just going wild. But I set it to silent. So I'll clean up. Really sorry about the fan. It just does that. So Vuax is Edifice. Gonna go back here, and I'm gonna fight Vuax. Now, I may lose on my first time because I haven't fought all the enemies, and actually I need to go back through the canoe. But you can open the door, so I'm gonna go do that. But on hard mode, the Vuax fight, it's one of the harder fights. Like, there's 1, 2, 3 boss fights with a 4th hidden one. Oh wait, no, 1, 2, 3, 4 boss fights with a 5th hidden one. And they're all hard. This one might be the easiest, but on hard mode, with just the sheer number of things there, I'd say on hard mode this one's the hardest. And then the third one's the easiest. So I'm gonna go back up and fight, oh, of course, and fight Vuax. Dodge all of them. I'm not gonna run this time. There. Trampoline back up. Dodge the caves in east, and here we go. It's a few bones. Stem cell. I'm probably gonna need to use those in this fight. And here's Vuax. And yeah, he talks about outdoors here, which I kind of mentioned earlier, if I didn't cut that out. Everyone is clean. And now for the boss theme. It's a pretty good song. I don't think it's worth it to use any of those moves on one of the Tyros, because they have so little health. But it's very important that you take out the Tyros first, otherwise you're going to have enemies that total to being more powerful than Vuax himself. A little too early for foam armor, so I guess I'll just snap one of them. Oh yeah, he knows sharp fingers. So see, he would have leaking. Wayne would, but they have clean status, so the status effect did not affect him. Also, just discovered now, it lasts like 1 turn instead of 2 or 3 like I said earlier. So I'm gonna take that out. Yeah, charge up. Oof. Also, foam armor prevents leaking and burning. It gets rid of them if it's already applied, or if someone does something like sharp fingers, it would prevent that. So, one of them, the other one is gonna call in a friend. So I guess I'll give Vuax Dissolution. And see, he doesn't have that much health. But, it's his minions that make it hard. Yep. See, this is the problem with Dennis Moon. He doesn't have enough will yet to even use foam armor twice. So, one of these stops leaking. The cookie. Cookie's pretty useless. Doesn't restore that much HP. But it does get rid of some status effects that other items don't. So, that's why I used it. Guess we have to take care of this road flea. There, he's dead. Ooh. Guess you'll have to use cookie on yourself again. I don't know why the cookie looks like that. And great, on him now. We have to take out this Tyro. Yep. So now we just have to deal with VWAX. And I'll end the video after that. I know this video has been going pretty long. But I just had a lot of time today. So I guess this is how long episodes will normally be. Around like an hour, maybe shorter, maybe longer. That attack, oh boy. Soul Crisper. This is gonna be a close call. And boom. See? The burning did 18 damage to him because he had 180 health. And get some pretty good rewards. Later on, I mean way later on, all the enemies give you a muscle up leak after you defeat them. So I think that's where I'll end the video. I hope this helps so far. I really like Hylics too. Oh, and I guess some quick credits. There is this website called the Hylics 2 Tour Guide. It is really helpful, and it helped me get through the Sage Labyrinth, which I was stuck on for a while. So, that's where I'll end the video. Goodbye.